holly, and ignore the Christmas decorations. Don't judge me. I'm really doing that. They're really up this early for a video series I'm doing, so yeah. But anyways, so I wanted to do a discussion video, and I wanted to talk about negative reviews. So I've wanted to do this for a long time, and I kind of think to do it whenever I see, usually whenever I see an author kind of like behaving badly on Twitter. I will say a lot of times when I see authors like this, at least now, it's usually a very small, newer author, so I would like to think that it's more of a place of like ignorance. I don't know. And hopefully they'll grow and learn. But negative reviews are a real hot topic. So a lot of times I see authors get really like offended or bothered by them. And sometimes they lash out on Twitter, Goodreads, Instagram, whatever. And I also see reviewers feel uncomfortable sometimes about giving a negative review of a book, especially if like it's an author they've liked before, or if there's something about the book that maybe they feel like they should have liked more because like society says you have to or whatever. And I will say I feel that pressure too, but my main thesis is that negative reviews are a good thing. So there's a couple things to this. One is that honesty before anything else is important. A review of a book is 99% opinion. So you are allowed to dislike a book or dislike content in a book. And your honesty is so important because that will help other people with figuring out what that content in that book is and if that will or will not work for them, which we'll talk a little bit more about later. But also, honesty is integrity. Like if you're going to review books, it's important for you to be honest so that people who are reading your reviews know that they can value and trust your opinion. Or maybe, like I have some booktubers, like I follow Kayla from Books and Lala, right? I don't think she and I very often have similar taste in books, but I trust her to be honest about her review of books, and she's very honest and she's very clear about liking weird things. So I know that if I did have the same taste as her, that then if she likes a book and she just gives like a star rating, I can be like, okay, I will probably like that. So an example for me of a booktuber like that is Heather from Bookables. I feel like she and I tend to like the same kind of books, especially when it comes to things like romance. And so if she recommends a romance book or like a chick litty contemporary novel, then most likely I'm going to give it a similar rating because we have similar taste. And so her being honest about her opinions and her thoughts helps me find more books because I know, okay, if I'm looking up a book on Goodreads and I see Heather rated this 4 stars, I don't even need to go any further. I'm like, okay, well, Heather and I have similar tastes. This book could work for me. Thing number 2, reviews are for readers, not authors. I think this is important for both readers and authors to understand. And I know there's some people who disagree with me, and that's fine. If you disagree with me, you can leave that below in the comments. I do not think that reviews are a place for an author to get criticism to further their work. That doesn't mean you can't criticize in a review. I think that's fine, that's great, but that's not what authors should be using them for. In fact, I would highly discourage any authors from ever reading a review of your books. If you really do want to see if like you tried something different and you want to see how it worked, I would highly suggest asking a friend, like a book friend, a not book friend, a significant other, a parent, an agent, to read the reviews and gather that data for you and then give it to you so you just have plain data instead of the words and potentially like the harshness of a review. I think that'll just be easier for you. But from like a reader perspective, a review is not your place to tell an author that they like don't know how to grammar. Like that, the book is beyond that point. First of all, you can point out issues in writing, that's fine, but the author's not gonna like get something from that. That's really more of a thing for the reader, and like future readers to know. Related to that, however, I would strongly discourage all readers from tagging authors in your reviews, especially if they're negative. Like probably anything below a 4-star, I would highly discourage you from tagging an author, just because what are you accomplishing? Like, are you trying to hurt them or what? If you're like posting a review to your blog, don't tweet out the link and then at the author if it's negative. That's just, it's not polite. So I would kindly suggest you don't do it. But I want to go back to this idea of content and using negative reviews. So the reason I don't have a problem with negative reviews is because I have picked up books in the past because of negative reviews, and not to hate read. Like, hate reading is a thing too, but there are too many books in the world. I do not have time to hate read a book. If you do, good for you. I'm proud of you. You do what makes you happy. But for me, I have seen reviews or comments on BookTube or on Goodreads, and somebody has complained about something in a book, particularly maybe something on the tropey side, or maybe it's like a fantasy and they're like, oh, it's super romance heavy. Well, I would prefer my fantasy to be more romance heavy. So that might be something that you knock a book down for, but for me, that's something I'm interested in. So I'm going to be more inclined to pick it up. So your 2-star review could lead to a 4 or a 5-star review from me. I am also a very tropey reader, and there are tropes I cannot stand and I avoid and are not always clear in a synopsis, like secret babies. I hate secret babies. So reading a review, positive or negative, that explains that a book has secret babies in it helps me avoid that book, because I'm most likely going to rate it low. And that's not good for anybody when it's just a content choice. Like, that, I don't know. And so like what I do if I'm up in the air about a book, like if I just see a cover or something like on Instagram, or it just pops up in somebody's haul and I'm trying to decide like, oh, that sounds kind of interesting, but I'm not 100% sure. What I'll do is I'll go on Goodreads. I actually do this with like products I'm trying to buy as well. I'll usually like check on Amazon or whatever, and I like to look at like 4 and 5-star reviews and then 1 and 2-star reviews, and I like to see if there's any like major things in either of those that would make the book like go either way for me. And that's because negative reviews don't necessarily, like I said, mean it's going to be negative for you. It can be negative for that person and still work for you. And actually, speaking of, I think Kayla from Books and Lala is a great example of this. She tends to have an alternative opinion from a lot of other people and a lot of reviewers. She did like a series, like a video like a year or 2 ago on her channel where she read like the lowest rated books on her TBR, because she has a tendency to end up rating books that people think of and give like 2 stars. She tends to give 4 or 5 stars. And I think if you know that you have an alternative mindset than a lot of other people, then knowing what to look for is important. So if you are that person who tends to have the outlier opinion, reading the 5-star reviews and just looking at 5-star reviews and just not ever, like, you go on Goodreads and you're like, it's below 4 stars is the overall rating, I'm not even going to consider it. Maybe keep going and look at the actual reviews and see what people have to say, because maybe those negative reviews will complain about something in the story that is something that you actually love and would work for you. I don't know. I hope this makes sense. If you have any comments or you think differently about any of this, let me know. Obviously, I am just one person with my own opinions, but I feel very strongly about this. You know, I think all reviews are great, and I think negative reviews definitely have a place, and negative reviews don't have to mean negativity. Like, maybe it shouldn't even be a negative review. It should be, I should call it like a low star rating review, because it doesn't have to be mean or hurtful. Obviously, I'm not a big fan of those, but being unhappy or disappointed in a book is fine. You're allowed to feel that way, and you're also allowed to love a book that other people were disappointed in. That's fine. It happens. We've all been there. So yeah, that's it. Thank you for coming to my TED Talk, I guess. Is that like how people use this? I don't know. But I'm too old for like memes, I guess. Is that a meme? I think it's a meme. I see it on Twitter. But yeah, I'm gonna go. So thank you so much for watching, and I will see you next time. Bye.